Holyoke Public Schools addressing social media posts today threatening violence within the school district. Western Mass News reporter Addie Patterson joins us live in Holyoke with more after she spoke with police on the matter. Addie.
Chris, Holyoke police say they're aware of the recent online threats made towards the school district, but they want community members and residents to know that at this time there is no credible threats to Holyoke schools. Meanwhile, a letter from Holyoke Public Schools Superintendent Anthony Soto was sent out to parents earlier today. It reads, last night, a Holyoke Public Schools student reportedly posted an image on Instagram that depicted a collection of weapons on a countertop at an unidentified location. We were notified by concerned community members shortly after the post appeared, and we called Holyoke police, who immediately went to the student's home to investigate. No weapons of any kind were found in the student's home. Police determined the photo originated elsewhere on the internet and that the student had not taken it. Western Mass News did reach out to the Holyoke Police Department and spoke with Lieutenant Patrick Leahy. He tells us the department understands parents are concerned, but wants folks to know police are working hard and taking all the proper steps to make sure students and faculty within the district are safe.
As a product of the Holyoke Public Schools and a parent of the Holyoke Public Schools, I understand where they're coming from. I want them to know that we're working on it, and the appropriate channel is to call 911 and report it to a police officer. We'll send someone there, and then we'll track it down from there.
According to Superintendent Soto, the student who made the post now faces disciplinary action under the district's code of conduct. Now, to make sure you're receiving all the latest updates on what's going on within the district, head on over to their website instead of checking social media to make sure you're getting the most accurate information. For now, reporting live in Holyoke, Addie Patterson for Western Mass News.
Addie, thank you for that live report. And still ahead